What's up, guys and gals, and today we are doing another rapid fire sunny review of Warlocks 2 Godslayers, and this game is a 2D platforming Metroidvania RPG featuring 5 unique characters with 8 to 10 hours of gameplay in the story mode with cool unique loot drops with different stats and different rarities. You have the ability to do a normal playthrough or play in permadeath mode, meaning you lose the game after your one and only death, all while having the option to play this in single player or 4-player local co-op. As for the story in Warlocks 2 Godslayers, we start off trapped and needing to be freed. We get our first ability from a mysterious shaman, and we begin our adventure of joining the Order of the Warlocks and being called to challenge the gods and dethrone them from their mighty positions. There is 5 unique characters, with each having their own abilities and skill trees. You can only have 4 equipped moves at any given time, and this is where the game impressed me. These skill trees not only have new skills you choose to unlock, but they even have their own subcategories to further improve upon within the same skill. So even though someone else playing this game chose the same character, you'll probably have a different set of skills that are different and suited to what you enjoy as your own playstyle. The first character we have is Jake the Pyro Dancer, who uses his trusty Phoenix Bird and Boombox to deal damage. His skill tree is very unique, with using physical attacks with his boombox and doing fire damage with his Phoenix. Then we have the visually pleasing badass Shax the Spirit Lord, who conjures up magic and summons ancient creatures and demons. His skill tree gives you the option of focusing on magic or his necromancy, or possibly doing a mixture of both. We have Willow the Witch, who throws a pair of roses that does a ton of damage but is very slow moving and can be very inaccurate. Her skills range from the abilities to smoke a cig for buffs, taking selfies to blind her enemies, and a range of crowd control abilities like turning enemies into critters. Next, we have our only melee character in the game, Cormag the Drunk Goat, who rides his trusty dwarf horse using physical attacks with his scythe and getting drunk to get buffs and headbutting enemies with his dwarf horse. Probably the wackiest and most unique character of the whole bunch. And last but definitely not least, my personal favorite and the one I took through my main playthrough, Kira the Shaman. Her main ability being the dagger throw, which is lightning quick and deals physical damage. She can throw out totems that buff the party's damage, or a totem for healing and reducing the party's incoming damage. She also has self and party heals, which I found particularly useful for a single player playthrough. As for the overall gameplay, visuals, and sound, let's just say I typically hate Metroidvanias, and this game blew me away from the start, and I never even planned on reviewing this game until I started playing it and I couldn't stop. The visuals at first won't blow you away, but as you get further in, you really start to appreciate the hand-drawn animations and the beautiful scenery. The soundtrack and sound animations were so satisfying and awesome to listen to. But the mechanics and gameplay really shine in this game. Metroidvanias tend to annoy the ever-living crap out of me. Having to backtrack, typically the combat is so boring. Usually I find myself doing tedious and boring things, but in this game, with the ability to level and form your own unique builds and all the loot that you can acquire, I had no issues backtracking, exploring the worlds, or re-exploring to kill more enemies. The loot is satisfying as it ranges in rarity from normal to epic to unique sets of gear. The unique gear having cool mods like being battle rezzed on death, to cool percentage procs that call forth new damage abilities like lightning. I was just blown away by how varied and the unique loot drops were as you progressed further into the game. Oh, and did I mention you get a cool pet that grows and evolves as you level from a baby to a mini grown beast? Oh, and he gets his own set of gear and loot, and he helps you in combat. I mean, why not, right? This game has everything else going for it. But the boss fights though were the most fun I had in this game. They are challenging, unique, and very well done. Visually and mechanically, they feel like epic fights, and I found myself getting my butt kicked quite easily, and I loved the challenge they were presenting. If I were to play this on permadeath, I would be deathly afraid of these fights, and I would have to go in extremely well prepared. As for a few things that I would have liked to have seen different, the story mode is not long, and while I would have liked to have checked out all the new classes in more depth, I think I would have had a hard time replaying the whole story mode in a single player run. The only thing I could see me doing is replaying with permadeath for an extra challenge, so I'm not sure if the replayability is there as for a single player game unless you turn up the difficulty. I would have also liked to have seen loot changing your character's appearance, and at times the game did stutter and I would hear the music cutting in and out, but keep in mind that this review was done on the Nintendo Switch. Other platforms, I'm guessing, won't be having these issues, and I also had a buggy issue with the auto targeting that would target stuff outside of my screen but that might be more of an issue exclusive to consoles. But overall, I really enjoyed my time with Warlocks 2. The game has so much variation happening with the leveling and skill trees, all the cool unique loot you will find with different abilities on those loot pieces. The story is funny and enjoyable to follow with. The soundtrack is awesome, and the gameplay is a hell of a lot of fun. For me, the game gets an 8 out of 10. And I think if the story was a bit longer, this would be a 9 out of 10 for me. Game is just amazing for the price, and I highly recommend this to anyone, especially if you can play with 3 other people, as the co-op in this game would just be absolutely insane, and I think that is where you're going to get a ton of fun and value for this game. But that is going to be it for me on this review. Thank you for watching, and if you can do me a huge favor and consider smashing that like button, sub to the channel if you're brand new and you want to see more of these videos. But that's it for me on Sunnyside TV. I hope you guys and gals have a sunny day.